We are going to visit the south of the Netherlands for some record digging, looking at grails at the wall and visit the Record Planet Mega Record and CD Fair. As you might have guessed, we are visiting the biggest record fair in the world. For the first time in 3 years it is held again, and we were lucky. About 1 month ago all the COVID-19 regulations were lifted, so there was no need for a mask, no test, and you didn't need to keep distance. We were almost back to normal. And in this video I want to share my impressions and my finds with you. The fair, for people who don't know, is 3 days. So it's on Friday. Friday is the dealer day. That's also the day they set up their stands. Then you have the Saturday and the Sunday when it is open for the public. They tried to do the exhibition 6 months ago in November, and that went horribly wrong. It was exactly between the Friday and the Saturday that the organizations of the exhibitions stopped the show, and that meant that people who were traveling to visit the show, they came for nothing. The dealers who had just set up everything had to break it down again, and that was not the organization of the record fair but of the exhibition hall, and that gave a big fight between the two, and a relationship that went on for more than 20 years was stopped, and they went to other locations. A location in the south of the Netherlands. For me, lucky, as it is a little bit closer by. It is in the city of Den Bosch, and the fair is called the Brabanthallen. As you can see, there's a lot of parking space, it is easy accessible, it's right next to the highway. Here you have an overview of the fair. What they try to do is split it in different areas. So you have a section for the alternative punk and metal, you have an area for the golden oldies, progressive and beat, and on the right side you have the general area. If you go higher up, you go into hall number 2 and hall number 3. Hall number 3 has the black music and dance music, and another area for general music. As you can see, there are 500 dealers or more, so don't let us waste any more time and go to the entrance. Are you ready for it? Okay, let's go. Wow, that are a lot of records and a lot of dealers. And did I understand correctly? Is this just hall 1? Back to the map. Right, above this one there is a second one and a third one. Let's go to hall number 3. Oh wow, even more records and more dealers. We need a plan to tackle this, because this will take weeks. My strategy is usually that I mark a few, for example 3, that I must visit, and then just start somewhere. There are many different kinds of record dealers at the fair. Some have taken a selection of their stock and presented it in boxes where you can go through them. Others seem to have taken the complete stock of the shop, and they have enough records at the fair to fill a complete record shop. And they have different price categories and different genres. You also have the dealers that only have taken a very specific selection of their stock and presented it very nicely. While walking along the different rows, it's also fun to talk to the people, because everybody you see is a vinyl junkie. Everybody loves records, and I always take the opportunity to talk to some of the record store owners I know for a long time. This is, for example, Marty. He owned a record shop in my hometown. Sadly he moved away, but his knowledge of records is amazing, especially psych records from the 60s and the 70s. I think he knows everything. The things he can pick out of different crates, it blows your mind. By the way, he's smiling because he just picked up over 1,000 singles at the fair. Another great guy is Jeroen. He has a small record shop in a harbour town nearby. He also has the ability to pick records from crates you would leave behind, but when you sample them, you think, aha, now I understand why you picked them up. You have to pay a little finder's fee, but that's okay. While talking to him, my eye caught a record shown at the stall behind him. There were some great African records. It's always fun to look at the records that are displayed at the wall. So many records, so many rarities and special ones. You're really surprised how many records are available for sale. Luckily, most of the prices were printed very small, so I couldn't read them, and more often than not I asked for the price. Here are some more records that I would be happy to add to the collection. Some record dealers were friendly enough to put a price tag on the records that I could read. It was a little bit of a shock, but we all know that prices have gone up the last few years, so it couldn't be a real surprise. But still, it is very hard to accept that none of these records were available for a price of €100 or below. For me, there was no other option than to go back to the crates and check the records one by one and hope to be lucky, because you know you're going to get lucky. It doesn't matter how many people are there, nobody can check all the crates and all the records. Maybe the ones below the table are the ones that everybody is missing. And just about when you want to give up, you hit the jackpot. You find the record you were always looking for. The new location seems to be a great fit for the fair. The main gateways were wide, it was busy, but it was never crowded. As you can see in the pictures, at every booth there is somebody, but you had never had to stand in line or use your elbows. You could check every crate you want. At some point you're wondering, how many records are there at this fair? I didn't do any calculations, but it must be millions. And of those millions of records that were for sale, some were really rare. This seller, for example, he didn't have many records for sale, but the ones he had, they were all grails. Some of them I have never seen in real life. The same is true for this seller. He had some Brazilian grails for sale that were just incredible. Unfortunately, the price was also incredible. And you might be wondering, how many records did I get? Which records did I find? How big was the stack of records that got home? Well, actually it's quite limited. I have them in front of me. I found 5 albums. I didn't go for any album that was on the wall. That was just too expensive for me. And the first album I found in the crates was James Brown with Show Is Funky Down Here. This is the album he did together with David Matthews and was still missing in my collection. Next is Sol Makassa, Afrique, an early 70s album done by all session players. They play instrumental funk with a jazzy vibe. Very happy with the next one, Duke Lebunga, Jungle Funk. They have found an original. I have the reissue. Don't let the title Jungle Funk mislead you. It's very much a jazz album from the late 60s. Duke is a trumpet player from Ghana. Next is Dom Romano. He's a drummer. An album on Muse Records. Really looking forward to spinning this one. I'm not familiar with it, but what I've heard, it is a great album. And the last one is Funkadelic, their debut album. No, I didn't find an original one. I hoped one day I will do that. If you yourself ever plan to go to the fair, I can recommend it. It's a unique experience. The atmosphere is unique. You meet so many people. You have never seen so many records in one go. If you go, take your time, don't hurry. And maybe one tip, train your fingers because they will hurt after one day. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.